Yo, what's going on guys? It's Anime One back here with a new video, and today I'm here with a new series of what if Naruto was neglected and had traveled back into the past. So we're gonna for if you guys like the content in the channel, please subscribe to the channel, and while you're at it, also like this video. So without any delay, let's begin the video. So we're gonna start this one off with the fourth Great Shinobi War happening, as everything is just mayhem in this version. Obito, who has the power of the Ten Tails, is wreaking havoc. Sasuke in this one is dead. So without Sasuke's help, Naruto cannot really do anything. What I mean by Sasuke is dead. When the Five Kage summit happened, the Five Kage did manage to kill Sasuke during that time, and Obito was not able to save him. So that pretty much is the jinx of it. And as for the what happens later, um, it's pretty much the same as canon, just without Sasuke. So the four Hokages are not here if Sasuke is not there. And not to mention, without Sasuke, they're not beating Obito in the Ten Tails form. So pretty much everyone is dead as Obito is looking down at Naruto, just about to kill him. As Obito brings down his Truth Seeker orb to eradicate Naruto, Naruto dies eventually. Naruto then who opens his eyes to find the Shinigami in front of him. The Shinigami looks at Naruto and then just smiles and just looks at the boy. You've suffered quite a life, haven't you, boy? The Shinigami would say to Naruto as Naruto would just look at him. I guess I have. Forgot to mention Naruto does have a little bit different personality compared to what he had in canon. In this one, Naruto after Jiraiya's death is much more darker, and let's just say that Naruto is not so jovial in this one too. His personality is dark. He after Jiraiya's death, he really doesn't even want to bring Sasuke back to the village. So those are the few things that I wanted to make clear before getting further into this what if. So as the Shinigami is looking down at Naruto, Naruto is just looking up at Shinigami. Shinigami just smiles at the boy with a devious look. I think I'll give you a second chance. The Shinigami says that he will look at Naruto. But your life might be even worse than it was in original. Now it's dependent on you that you know what things are about to happen and how you change it. Boy. Shinigami would say as Naruto would look at him. Oh, well, that's okay. Naruto would say as, eventually Shinigami reincarnate Naruto or send him back in time. But this time, things would be a little different. Naruto's parents would be alive, and not only his parents would be alive, he would also have siblings, Mito and Menma to be specific. After having siblings, and then Nine Tails being sealed inside of Mito, Menma, and the soul of the Nine Tails being sealed inside of Naruto. Eventually, when Naruto does, get a little bit older, 4 years old, with all of his previous memories, he notices that Minato and Kushina are not what he expected. They were pretty much ignoring him and focusing so much on Menma and Mito. In one of these days, I mean, they don't hate Naruto, don't get me wrong. They don't hate him, they just don't focus on him much. As that would have happened, eventually, when Menma and Mito would be training, Minato and Kushina would call Naruto. Naruto would get a jovious look on his eyes and he would go towards them. But the look would disappear as soon as they would tell Naruto to pretty much spar with Menma, right? As that would have happened, Naruto would be like, okay, fine, I'll do it. As that would have happened, Menma and Naruto would have started sparring, and Menma would have noticed that Naruto is much stronger than him. To keep up with Naruto, he would have used the Nine Tails chakra, as he would have gotten the slit in his eyes, and also he would have gotten the Visco marks. His Visco marks would have deepened a lot. Naruto does have Visco marks in this one, as eventually when all this does happen, Naruto gets traumatized because again Naruto is stronger than Menma, but again he's a 4-year-old and he cannot access back all the power that he had previously, right? Because of that, Naruto is pretty weak. Eventually, Naruto gets beaten so bad, but Minmas, who has also collapsed due to the overuse of Nine-Tails chakra, is sent to the hospital. But Minato and Kushina don't notice one thing: is that Naruto is lying on a pool of his own blood. Once they do realize that it's too late, and Naruto is in a coma. When Naruto is in a coma, he pretty much enters his mindscape and talking with Kurama. Naruto meets with the fox and pretty much asks him, what is his name? As Kurama would look at him, since this is the another version of Kurama, he would not remember what the fuck Naruto is talking about. So of course he would say, "My name is the Nine-Tails." Why are you asking me? Of course you know all of this. Naruto would smirk and say, you don't need to lie to me. I am from the future, after all, and things are a little different here, but Kurama, you're one of my few friends. As Naruto would say that, Kurama would just look at Naruto with wide eyes and he would just say, "Well, how the fuck do you know my name?" The Naruto would just smirk at him and just say, yeah, don't worry about that. As I said, I'm from the future. If you really want to know so much about me, I mean, I can tell you. As Kurama would stand up and Naruto would, start telling him everything that happened in his past. Kurama would listen to this patiently, and then soon, when Naruto is done telling his story, Kurama would sit down and start scratching his head. Okay, I got most of it. But Kurama would say as Naruto would look at him, "If that is true, why aren't you accessing your full power? As you also know, and so do I, that the chakra will eventually return back to me. I've already got enough chakra. As the brats use more of it, the more of it will come back to me. Eventually, you'll have my full power. So, how are you planning to do this? How are you planning to stop the catastrophe that happened in the future?" As Kurama would say this, Naruto would smirk. "Don't worry, I have plans." Naruto would say that, Kurama would smirk. "Oh, is that so?" Naruto. As Kurama would have taken a really keen interest and really good interest in Naruto after seeing through all of his memories, which Naruto allowed him to access to, otherwise Kurama couldn't have seen it through them. I also forgot to mention that Naruto had learned the flying Raijin during his previous life, so just to give a disclaimer over there. As Naruto would have woken up after 2 or 3 months, which in this 2 or 3 months, Minato and Kushina were feeling terrible. Like they felt like they're not good enough to be parents to Naruto, and every little thing that they did, it just didn't feel good, right? Eventually, when Naruto does wake up, he looks at his mother and father with a little bit of disdain look in his eyes, but eventually he forgives them. Is what he makes them think that he forgives them, but he has really not forgiven them. They just left him lying on this pool of his own blood. So yeah, that is something that Naruto will not forgive so easily. After a while, when Naruto is discharged, Naruto starts training to get it back his previous strength that he had. Naruto also learns many techniques like the Rasengan in a few weeks or so, and the Shadow Clone Jutsu, which Naruto already knows, and not to mention he also learns other techniques as well, just to get things done. He still hasn't learned the Falling Raijin. Naruto thinks that he needs more chakra. He needs Kurama's chakra in order to learn that technique. If he's gonna learn it at such a young age. When Naruto enters the academy with Menma and Mito, who don't like him specifically, Menma didn't feel damn guilty about hurting Naruto. He just didn't feel anything. So that was something and that is not to be looked forward to. Because Naruto, Menma, and Mito would go to the academy. Menma would say to Naruto, "Don't walk beside me, you filth, or you disgrace to the clan." Mito would pretty much agree to it, and Naruto would just be like, "Okay, if you say so, I'll not walk beside you." And Naruto would eventually just reach the academy before them. Naruto would pretend to be an average student in the academy to decept everyone. Again, this Naruto is a little mature, so he wouldn't want the attention of his parents and all that stuff, right? And because of that, Naruto would try to be average. Minas and Kushina would not like this, of course. They expect their son to be the top of the class and all that stuff. But Naruto is not just doesn't care, and that is the fact that Minas and Kushina don't like. Eventually, they pass the academy, and then they are assigned to their teams. Sasuke is a girl in this one. If you guys know what I mean, who's gonna be the ship? You already know it. Sasuke is a girl in this one, which just surprised Naruto specifically because the Uchiha massacre does not happen, and if the Uchiha massacre does not happen, Sasuke or Suki, in this case, does not go rogue. And if Suki does not go rogue, she pretty much doesn't do anything that and they did in the original. So that is one good thing. Naruto would take a keen interest in Suki specifically, and trust he would be the only one that would talk with her. As you know, the other boys would try to hit on her, while Naruto would just talk to her in a friendly manner, which Suki did like, and she eventually started liking Naruto in a romantic way, as any other what if, right? Eventually, they would graduate from the academy and they would be assigned to their teams. Naruto would be in a team with him, Suki, and Sakura, and their Jonin Sensei, of course, being Kakashi, and then Mito, Menma, and Sai would be in one team, and their Jonin Sensei would be Kushina. As this would have happened, and they pretty much do all of the D rank mission, A rank mission, whatever, right? Their D rank mission, and Naruto eventually demands to Minato that they are to be given a higher rank mission, which Minato is like, okay, why not? Let's do it. And Minato would give Naruto and his team a higher rank mission, specifically the wave mission. Naruto would smirk and just be relief at seeing Tazuna from his past life, and just kind of smirk at him. Tazuna would look at the boy and still would be thinking, why the fuck is this brass smirking at me? And eventually they would start to do the wave mission. And the wave mission, when the demon brothers pop up, they're taken care of very easily by Naruto, right? Naruto would not hide his strength anymore. Naruto had already learned the Rasengan and all that stuff. He's still not learned the Flying Rising because Mita and Menma haven't used their Nine Tails chakra till now. After all that, after the last time that he went on coma, Mina and Kushina are just scared of them using the Nine Tails chakra and pretty much hurting anyone else in the village. So Naruto would take care of the demon brothers, and they would Kakashi, seeing how his team handled this part of this parts, and the demon brothers would decide that they should continue the mission. Eventually, they would encounter Zabuza, and Naruto, who knows Zabuza is a good guy, and just it's the circumstances that made Zabuza do what he's doing, right? Naruto would let pretty much everything go as it did. He would team up with Tsuki to do the Demon Wind Shuriken thing, so I'll just let that stay the same as it did in canon, and they would free Kakashi, and Kakashi would defeat Zabuza. Kakashi, due to the exhaustion of his Sharingan, would eventually collapse, and then they would eventually go to the Tazuna's house, where Kakashi would be taken care of. Kakashi eventually would try to come and teach the three of them tree walking and chakra control exercise, but the three already know this. Naruto, because he's from the past, and he already knows the basics of chakra control and all that stuff. Sakura, because he's just he has a really low amount of chakra and he's good at chakra control. Suki, who was taught by her clan, who's alive, and because of that reason, she is able to control a chakra as well. Kakashi would be surprised that he would eventually go to the elemental nature training of his Genins, since they're already strong enough to uh, control their chakra, right? He would give them each a piece of paper to just see what kind of chakra nature they all have. Naruto's would split into two, and then they both of the parts would one would wrinkle and one would turn into fire. As Kakashi would look at Naruto, three chakra natures: wind, fire, and lightning. Naruto would smirk. Of course I do. I'm a genius. Naruto would say that. Kakashi would pretty much look at him and yeah, whatever. Suki's turn would come, and then she would of course have fire and lightning. Sakura will have the earth and nature as he did in the original series. So they eventually start practicing, and let's just say things work out in their favor, right? Naruto, is starting to practice how to apply chakra nature to his Rasengan. Specifically, he already has the basics down of how to apply the wind chakra nature and Rasen Shuriken and all that stuff. Naruto is just not using Rasen Shuriken right now because he will need Sage mode in order to do so, right? And for that, he needs to make contract with the Toads. So because of that, everything pretty much happens the same. And also, I forgot to mention, Naruto does have the sword contract, and he will just need to just practice Sage mode. His body is just not strong enough to handle it right now. Eventually, the wave vision would come to its end of Zabuza, Haku, and Kakashi facing off against everyone. Once that would have happened, Kakashi would battle Zabuza, and then Naruto would battle Haku and Suki. Suki and Naruto would fluidly, really easily defeat Haku, and then Naruto would pinned Haku down when they heard the sounds of 1,000 birds. Naruto would think that he cannot save Zabuza because Zabuza is too far gone, but Haku, who's an innocent soul, should be saved. So in this case, Naruto would save Haku by pinning him down, and just as Haku watches Zabuza pretty much gets slaughtered. He in this case pretty much breaks down and say, why did Naruto not let him go? Naruto would say that he's a pure soul, a kind soul that cannot be done like that. Eventually, Gato and his men arrive and start disrespecting Zabuza. Haku takes out his anger and grief on this father of Gato and eventually kills them all. The bridge is named as the Frost Demon Bridge in respect of Haku, who eventually goes back to Konoha with our heroes. Once that happens, Haku is introduced in Minato as they explain their circumstances of the mission, and Haku requests to stay with Naruto. So Naruto and Minato is like, yeah, the boy actually stays with me. I'm his father. Haku would look at him. You're the fourth Hokage's son. Naruto would look at her. Sorta. As Naruto said, Minato would just look at him. Yeah, sorta. Minato would think in his mind when his heart would break, since Naruto is sorta his son. In reality, he's completely his son. Naruto doesn't consider Minato's father, is what Naruto was trying to say with that sentence. Eventually, everything would happen the same. The Sand siblings would come and they would bully Konohamaru, but in this case, Menma and Mito would be the ones who, just encounter the Sand siblings and just get the situation solved. Once that would have happened, we cut to the Chunin exams. The Chunin exams is where things start getting real interesting. As we know, the Uchiha massacre has not happened. And since the Uchiha massacre has not happened, Orochimaru doesn't really have a reason to go after Suki, specifically because, there are like 50 or 70, I don't know, hundreds of Sharingan just lying around. So he can just, take over any one of their body and just get it done with. So Orochimaru does not interfere with Orochimaru does not interfere with any of this tuning exam shit, and Naruto and his team just scroll through the tuning exam with the relative ease without any much of a difficulty. So eventually, when this happens, they get to the preliminary rounds. Now, this is where things start to get really interesting. As we know, there are two little extra characters. So we'll have to eliminate one of them in order to make the tuning exams finals even. So of course, Menma fights Kiba, which he wins with relative ease. Satsuki fights Mita. Now this is where things start getting a little offensive to some of you, but the thing is that Suki, even as strong as he is for her age and all that stuff, a prodigy and all that stuff, she's not winning. She's not winning against Mito, who has been trained by Jiraiya, Mito, and Minato. She's too strong. By using her chakra chain, she pretty much pins Sasuke down, and this wins the match. As they would say that, Mito, who would be coming up with a smirk, she would say, look at Naruto and pretty much say, this is gonna be next to you, you loser. And she would say that Naruto would just, glare at her as, she defeated Sasuke in Suki in a pretty brutal fashion, as he would, eventually jump down and he would see Suki, whose barely eyes were open, as he would look at her and smile and just say, you did good. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of the rest. As Suki would nod, having faith in Naruto, and then eventually Naruto's battle would come. Naruto's battle would be with Dosu, the other sound guy, and Naruto would about body walk slam him. Right, it's not even fair. Naruto would win. Then you might be wondering, who does Choji go against? Choji goes against, let's just say, some kind of fodder, and he manages to win. Choji doesn't win, but since there's one extra character, he, due to his bad luck, he ends up facing Naruto, and Naruto defeats Tozi, and pretty much everything pretty much goes out the same as the canon. So the finalists are Naruto, Menma, Mito, and then of course Gaara, Temori, and Shino. These are 6 finalists that are going to be going to the next round of the tuning exams. So the next round of the tuning, they get their 1 month break, and in this 1 month break, they pretty much do anything that they can, right, to get stronger. Menma and Mito are trained by Jiraiya, who comes back to the village as Jiraiya does offer to train Naruto. Naruto, who does love Jiraiya in this one, since Jiraiya is not treating him, unfairly and all that stuff. Jiraiya is still the kind, old perverted man that Naruto knew. And Naruto just says that, he pretty much doesn't have anything to learn with Jiraiya. Jiraiya would be offended by this, but Naruto would, prove it by pretty much forming a Rasengan, and then he would also summon the toad. Jiraiya would ask Naruto, how the hell did he got the toad summoning? Because Naruto would, just tell him that, he went through hand signs one day and did the summoning jutsu. And suddenly he was in the Mount Miyaboku. As Naruto, who had already summoned Ma and Pa, would have told them the situation that he was in, and they would agree to not tell anyone about Naruto's, the whole time travel shit. So eventually this would happen, and Orochimaru's invasion would happen in this one, unfortunately. But Naruto, who believes that Minato can take care of Orochimaru, would just be like, okay, whatever. But Hiruzen is dead because he was the one who sacrificed his life instead of Minato. So what happens is the first round is between Mito and Naruto. Naruto curb stomps her. It's not even a contest. When Naruto just disrespecting her with the relative no value, she starts using her Nine Tails chakra, since she's getting pretty mad that this failure of a boy is disrespecting her. So she pretty much starts using the Nine Tails chakra, but what happens during this is the soul that Kurama, that is sealed inside of Naruto, Nine Tails soul, starts absorbing the chakra as they fight on. Naruto is able to do this he's able to pretty much catch Mito off guard and knock her down with a new Rasengan that he created, that is a lightning Rasengan, which he would catch her off guard with the vanishing Rasengan. Unlike Naruto's Rasengan is pretty strong, right? Naruto's Rasengan is pretty strong, and by applying lightning nature to it, he can pretty much make a vanishing Rasengan, and Mito, who was not being expecting this, would get hit by it. And Naruto would create a new jutsu after seeing Kakashi's lightning, as Kakashi also helped Naruto create this jutsu named Purple Lightning. As Naruto would eventually use this purple lightning to stab right through Mito's shoulder, knocking her out cold. And as that would have happened, Naruto would have gotten a decent amount of Kurama's chakra inside of him. 25% of Kurama's chakra is already inside of Naruto, okay? Since 25% of Kurama's chakra is already inside of Naruto, that simply means Naruto has 25% of Kurama's chakra already, right? So he's pretty much on 1/4 of his original strength back. That was he was in the war, because again 50% of Kurama's chakra is only inside of Naruto. 25% of Kurama's chakra is still a lot, probably equivalent to most of the tail beasts out there. So we can pretty much conduct that Naruto is already pretty goddamn strong. Temari and Shikamaru's battle would have happened as it did in original, and this time Shino would of course not get his battle with Conqueror, because Conqueror would have forfeited. Then we get to Menma versus Gara. Now this pretty much goes the same, as Menma pretty much copies um, Rock Lee's taijutsu. With the help of Jirai, he's able to get decent amount of hits in on Gara, and then when Gara does, form his Shan shield around him, Menma uses the Rasengan to get right through the Sand shield. As Gara, who's now has been injured, is now screaming that he's been injured, and gets knocked the fuck out. As that would have happened, the feathers would start dropping from the sky, and the Genjutsu would have been placed on the people of Konoha. Once this would have been done, the battle between Minato and Orochimaru would have taken place, and then Naruto would eventually go after Gaara. Once Naruto go after Gaara, he meets the Sand siblings, and he take care of them with relative ease. This time Naruto is the one who's using 2 tails worth of Kurama's chakra to fight Gaara. When the Gaara does go, in his mini tail beast transformation kind of state. Gaara does go on a possum mode and pretty much summons, Kaku in the village. Naruto summons Gamabunta and responds, and they fight. This pretty much goes the same as it did in Ken, but this one in this one Naruto doesn't get injured as much, and he knows Jutsu's Gaara as pretty much the same as he did in canon. Gaara becomes a good guy. Minato, who's pretty much curb stomping Orochimaru, because I don't know why, but Orochimaru is so dumb, right? If Minato were alive, I don't think that he would really do the invasion, but just for the sake of plot, let's just say that Orochimaru is dumb, and he decides to fight Minato with a reanimation, but he forgets that Minato can teleport anything that he touches. So Minato pretty much teleports the second Hokage and Hashirama away in a really far away distance, and then he and Orochimaru are left for the battle. And let's just be honest, Orochimaru, even with the Sharingan, which he did take over someone's body in order to do so, is not winning against Sage Mode Minato. And in this case, Minato is a lot stronger than he was in canon. He actually mastered Sage Mode. Again, Minato has been alive for a much longer period of time, so he has mastered Sage Mode in this period of time. So Minato kills Orochimaru without much of a difficulty. Sage Mode is just that of a huge of a status. Naruto, who was like a low Jonin level fighter in the Shippuden series, from low Jonin he became to like a high Kage level fighter. So that's a huge jump. And Minato, who is already a high Kage level fighter, he would have been in the same leagues as the likes of Hashirama and Madara with Sage Mode. So he curb stomps Orochimaru, and Orochimaru dies. Everything pretty much goes the same, and then Since the Uchiha massacre has not happened, Itachi does not join the Akatsuki. If Itachi does not join the Akatsuki, no one comes to the village in search of the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki. After this happens, the next step that we take is bringing Tsunade back. Jiraiya takes Naruto with him since he has a really good interest in Naruto since he out of the three siblings Naruto is his favorite. And why is Naruto is his favorite? Because Naruto was named after the main character of the book, of the book, Tales of the Gutsy Ninja. So Jiraiya's favorite out of the three siblings is Naruto, because Naruto has a good attitude. He's polite, he's humble, and well, the other two are just bratty and spoiled brats. Naruto and Jiraiya would eventually encounter Tsunade and try to convince them to come back to the village. Tsunade, who would, bash all the Hokage, Naruto would just look at her and, just start speaking like, says the old woman who is drinking and cannot get out of her sorrow of losing her uh, lover and all that stuff. Kakashi has lost much more than you, but he still stays in the village. I mean, I wonder who's much stronger, you or Kakashi. As Naruto would say that Tsunade would stand up and just tell him to come outside to have a fight. Naruto, who has already gotten 50% of Kurama's chakra. I forgot to mention that Menma also used Kurama's chakra during his and Gaara's fight, and because of that, Naruto again has gotten Kurama's chakra back within him. Naruto, who has 50% of Kurama's chakra, can use Flying Raijin now, his own version of Flying Raijin, and because of that, he catches Tsunade off guard and defeats her, which surprises Jiraiya, but again, Tsunade was caught off guard with the Flying Raijin Jutsu. Tsunade eventually agrees that she'll go back to the village since Orochimaru is not alive, so that's not gonna be much of a problem. She eventually goes back to the woods to heal all the people that were hurt in the invasion, specifically Rock Lee, whose leg is just fucking broken by Gaara. And then we cut to Naruto, who's walking in the Uchiha compound to pick up Suki for a date. Which he asked out Suki for a date, and after the tuning exams passed out, he promised Suki that if he won, she would have to go out with him, and she was like, okay, fine, I agree to it. And as they would walk, Naruto would pick up Suki, and they would go on their little date. Eventually, Naruto would tell Suki that, how about he leaves the village with him for 3 to 4 years. Suki would, say that, she can, she has her Uchiha duties, but Naruto would say that he has already talked with Fugaku and Itachi. Suki would look at him like, what the fuck? And they would, when Naruto would say, yeah, I've already talked with the father and brother. And they're like, yeah, if she agrees with it, yeah, she can go. And eventually Suki does agree with that. She wants to stay with Naruto, so she goes to the training with Naruto. So the 4 year time skip does happen, and the training happens, right? Naruto trains Suki in every single way that he could, and Naruto has surpassed uh, everyone in the village. He has combined Sage mode, and he has already gotten 100% of Kurama's chakra back. As Menma and Mito continue to try to control the Kurama chakra, eventually Minato and Kushina do realize that the soul of the Nine Tails will eventually regain back his chakra, so they do know that Naruto is the full Jinchuriki of Kurama right now. Naruto would train Suki in every shape or form that he could. He would teach her Flying Raijin, but she could not really get a ceiling concept down, so she would not really try to learn it much. But then Suki would develop her own technique, and this one I'm gonna give her Amano Tezikara via her Mangekyo Sharingan ability, right? I'm gonna replace Kagasuchi with her Amano Tezikara. So Suki can pretty much swap places with anything as long as it's in her vision. So that's a little bit of buff for Suki, right? But that pretty much goes on. Naruto, how he managed to unlock her Mangekyo Sharingan. Naruto pretty much like pretended to die in front of Suki, and that pretty much awakened their Mangekyo. They'll just go with that. I need Suki to awaken her Mangekyo. So yeah. Once this goes on, they both come back to the village, and then they hear that the Kazekage has been captured. Now this is where things start getting interesting. Naruto, who already knew that Gaara would get captured by the Akatsuki, had implanted a flying Raijin seal on Gaara already on his body. So when the news that arrived that Gaara is captured, Naruto along with his team instantly teleport to Gaara, who's getting then one tails extracted from him. Once this happened, Naruto pretty much severs the connection between all the Akatsuki and intervenes the sealing process. And the battle between Naruto, Suki, Menma, and Kakashi, along with Sakura, which not Sakura, Naruto actually had teleported Sakura away to the Sand Village, um, because they needed to heal Kankuro. So because of that, let's just say that things are not looking good for Deidara and Sorcery. Kakashi and Naruto take on your Deidara, and Suki along with Menma take on Sasori. Suki, who has her EMS because Vinci came back to the village. She swapped eyes with Itachi, and because of that, she has her EMS is pretty broken. Especially when she can swap places with anything that she wants to. So yeah, it's not looking good for Sasori and Menma, who has also learned flying Raijin via his father, and also learned the Rasen Shuriken and really destructive jutsus like that. Is also pretty strong. He's also learned Sage mode during this time skip. So he and Suki both are on Kage level. So his Sasori doesn't stand a chance. And Deidara just escapes via what do you say that? Deidara just escapes via a clay clone. So because of that, everything pretty much goes the same. Chio, and since the Gaara extraction was intervened in the middle, only 50% of Sukaku is getting extracted from Gaara. Toby, or Obito in this case, would be pissed that this happened, and would try to confront Nagato with all this nonsense that's happening. It was like, how the fuck did the brat plant, or when did he plant a flying Raijin seal on Gaara? Eventually Pain would have Zetsu would have came out of the ground, would have said that Naruto might have planned it in their first battle, when Naruto converted Gaara into a good guy. Obito would think that even then, just planning a seal on someone is kind of risky, since you are risking pretty much a war happening while you're doing that. You have a seal on the Kazekage, and then anytime you can just teleport to their location and just fucking assassinate them. Naruto would eventually remove the seal from Gaara, as Gaara would request this, and then they would go on their happy lucky go way back to the village. Well, this would have happened. The second arc, which is the Hidan and Kakuzu arc, would begin, and unfortunately, Naruto, who had been gone, could not do anything in this case, right? Asuma still dies. I don't see Asuma surviving. And Kakashi, and then pretty much Shikamaru and Team 9 pretty much go to get revenge for Asuma with Kakashi as the leader. This time, Naruto is the one that is sent as backup, and Naruto with just a little bit of Rasengan, or Chu Odama Rasengan, completely destroys Kakazu in a molecular level. So yeah, good luck with that, Kakazu. You're now winning. As that happens, eventually the team does get arrived, and then Jiraiya the Gallet arc begins. Now here, also things start getting real interesting, like real juicy. When Jiraiya goes to the hidden rain village to investigate on, pain and all that stuff, Naruto had already implanted the flying Raijin seal on his ass, right? Naruto had done that because he knew that Jiraiya would die, and of course he didn't want Jiraiya to die. So because of that, Naruto would sense that Jiraiya's chakra level is reaching all-time low via his flying Raijin seal would teleport in front of Jiraiya as Jiraiya would pretty much about to get stabbed by all six paths of pain, and Naruto would have gone through some similar hand sign and just with a little bit of flashing of jutsu, and Naruto would have just teleported away with Jiraiya. Jiraiya would be immediately rushed to the hospital, which via Tsunade, and she would try to heal him. Jiraiya, who has already lost an arm and his throat had been crushed. His arm cannot be brought back, unfortunately, but his throat had been repaired by Tsunade. Jiraiya would tell every single detail about the pain and Nagato to everyone in the village, and they would be prepared. Toby would send Pain to the village to attack it, but to say it in the most polite way, Pain or Nagato just get Karm stopped. There's no way that he's winning. Oh man, it's actually pretty bad. How bad Pain loses, right? The entirety of the Uchiha clan is alive. All Fugaku, Shisui, and Suki, Itachi, all Kage level ninjas. Minato is alive. Menma and Mito, who are Sage Mode Naruto level since they know Sage Mode 2, are alive. Minato is alive. Tsunade is in the village. Naruto, who is also in the village. And yeah, like how the hell is Nagato supposed to win? So eventually they do end up finding Nagato, and Nagato in this case didn't kill much people, so he doesn't use the Arena Rebirth technique in order to bring everyone back to life. Nagato stays alive. As Naruto would have left that, he would have forgotten that, oh shit, Obito will get Nagato's Rinnegan. As Naruto would rush back, it would have already been too late. Nagato's one of his eye socket would be, just ripped out Rinnegan, as he would be holding on to one of his eye socket, as Obito would have ripped out one of Nagato's Rinnegan. Since Obito does have more of a mastery over the Rinnegan, even more than Nagato does, via the chains that he used in the fourth grade Shinobi War that Nagato's outer path could not use, and because of that, I am the one who deemed that Obito does have over much mastery over the Rinnegan than Nagato, since I also believe that Obito was the one who taught Nagato how to use the Rinnegan properly. So Obito would get control over the Getter statue, and things would just go mayhem, especially since all the tailed beasts up to the 7 tails have been captured. Only the ones that are left are the 8 and the 9 tails. As they would have happened, the 5 Kage summit will be called, especially when Kisame goes to the hidden Cloud Village to capture the 8 tails. 8 tails would have got captured Killer Bees, not defeating Kisame, unfortunately, and he would end up getting captured, and his tail would be extracted as well. Raikage would call for a 5 Kage summit, and the 5 Kage summit would have happened as it did in original. Eventually, the 5 nations would have made an alliance against Toby, who had declared war against them by threatening them with his 8 Biju powers. If they don't have the 9 hand over the 9 tails, it's war. And then they're like, yeah, fuck it, it's war. We're not gonna let you complete this psychotic infinite Tsukuyomi plan. So what happens now? The war arc begins. Naruto, who already has full mastery over the 9 tails, convinces them, the 5 Kage, that he'll be more of a help than a burden to them. So they eventually just end up like, yeah, I will do whatever you want, man, and just don't blame me afterwards. Black Zetsu, who attaches himself to Nagato, eventually does bring back Madara. Back to life. Madara gets one of his Rinnegan, and then things start getting real bad. Madara, who's revived, and Nagato is dead. Konan is dead, since Black Zetsu and Madara killed them. Obito and Madara would start wreaking mayhem. Especially since just a bit of a 9 tails chakra that Obito gathered from the remnants of the 9 tails chakra that were in Kinkaku, which he had forced Kabuto to revive with the Sharingan Genjutsu, and then because of that, he would have eventually got the Ten Tails revived. As the Ten Tails would revive, Naruto would get PTSD of this thing, as he would think, I can does not let this happen. I cannot let this shit happen again. But this time, it's things are a lot different. Suki is alive. If Suki is, and not only is she alive, she's Naruto's lover. So when Obito does absorb the Ten Tails, pretty much everything goes the same. Naruto Takano Jutsu's Obito, and then the whole Five Nation Great Alliance end up pulling out the tail beast from Obito, and then Madara is the one eventually after some time. The one who pretty much extracts the tail beast out of everyone, including Naruto. Naruto is not escaping, if you're wondering. Uh, and then the Sage of the Six Paths comes back, brings back Naruto back to life, and he and Suki pretty much get their power ups. If you're wondering, Naruto did separate his Nine Tails in 50-50, so Naruto, another clone that he had, did have the other part of the Nine Tails, and when eventually the poof happened, he got back to another part of the Nine Tails, and Naruto and Suki pretty much end up battling Madara, the Ten Tails Madara, and in this case, Night Guy is not used since there's not much of a use for him, and eventually uh, things pretty much go the same, right? I don't see anything changing at all. And yeah, that pretty much brings this one to an end. Kaguya revives via Black Setsu. Naruto and Suki eventually end up sealing her away be via a Six Paths Chibaku Tensei, and then eventually they get Tonori comes back to Earth, but in this case, Menma and Naruto. Menma, who is the fiance of Hinata, along with Naruto, go to the moon to just confront Toneri. Naruto and Menma just curb stomp Toneri, and then they just bring Hinata and Hanabi back to the Hidden Leaf Village. After all this mess has happened, the next arc that happens is Naruto becomes the Hokage, which he wanted to become really dearly right from the beginning. He had kids. He has kids with Suki, and then they eventually name them. They eventually name them Boruto and Himawari as they did in the original series. In this one, Momoshiki and Kinshiki arrive, and it pretty much goes the same. Nothing really changes on that, except the fact when Naruto does get captured by Momoshiki and Kinshiki, Naruto pretty much is like, yeah, flying rising sucker. He just teleports out of there, and Momoshiki and Kinshiki cannot even absorb the Nine Tails chakra out of him. Naruto forces both of them back by using his Kurama avatar and all that stuff, and Momoshiki is eventually just forced to fuse with Kinshiki. Now here is where things start getting controversial. I am a firm believer that fused Momo is stronger than Kaguya, but fused Momo is on Naruto's level, right? So they eventually start battling, and things start getting exhausting from Naruto. But eventually Suki and the others arrive and just take care of Momoshiki eventually. Kawaki, who as in original just gets founded, and then eventually they get everything as they did in original. Suki does not lose her arm, so that's one good thing. And Ishiki comes to the village. Jigen comes to the village to get Kawaki back, but Naruto and Suki ain't let that happening. But even with all the power ups that Naruto has gotten, things are not looking good for my man. He has no way of defeating Jigen, and they both eventually get stabbed, and Suki teleports away with a Rinnegan. And then soon we cut to everything that happened. Kashin Koji pretty much takes care of Jigen, and Naruto is unsealed by Kawaki and the others. And eventually, what happens is Ishiki comes to the village in search of Kawaki. So Naruto, unfortunately, is forced to use Baryon mode in this case as well to deal with Ishiki, and Kurama dies. Everything pretty much goes the same as it did in canon. Nothing much changes. Minato and others being alive also doesn't change anything much when you're comparing them to the godlike characters like Ishiki, Momoshiki, Kenshiki, and the Otsutsukis are just too powerful for their own goods, right? The Minato and the others are not doing living shit to anyone. So, because of that, Kawaki and Borshiki eventually end up battling, and everything pretty much goes the same to the point it has right now. Kawaki seals Naruto and Suki away into his Daikokuten dimension. And then pretty much everyone chases down Kawaki because he just sealed away the Hokage. And then once they do realize that everything happens, and the reverse Uno card via Ada is placed, and Boruto and Kawaki end up switching the roles. Now, of course, we don't know what happens in the future, so I really cannot continue this what if any further. So this was the what if Naruto was neglected and uh, ended up traveling to the past. So the movie. So if you guys liked this video, like the video and share this video with many of your friends as possible to help the channel grow, and then subscribe to the channel as well. See you guys in the next one. Peace.